Hi, friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. My name is Host Eric, and I am the host of Talking with Famous People. And today we're talking about INs and love relationships. I'm going to read a comment by one Mark HV29. Is your current relationship leading you to reinforce it by finding reasons that NTPs and SFJs are good matches? I think INs don't really match well with anyone and probably get married, if at all, for unsustainable reasons. All four of them are probably happier in the long term without a partner. I'm going to add the missing piece of the argument chain here that he's just skipped because he's hoping, maybe he thinks it's obvious or something, but which is, of course, that my claim was that these relational matches in the video were good ones, say, between INTP and ESFJ. And so he's asking is, if in fact it were the case that INTPs react differently in a relationship than ENTPs, then wouldn't these things be particular to ENTP and ISFJ rather than, basically he's critiquing my claims within the video and then separately making the point about INs being distinct, distinct, distinctly well suited for single life. INs don't really match well with anyone and probably get married if at all for unsustainable reasons. All four of them are probably happier in the long term without a partner. Well, that may be the case. And what was interesting, when I read that out loud here in the room, everybody agreed. All the INs did anyway. Now, I want to stress that in answer to your first question, though, no, it's not possible that I'm finding reasons to reinforce it. The reasons find me. They find me with such sledgehammer obviousness and abundance that I and additionally I'm very accustomed to being objective about shit that I'm very biased about. So like I'm a debate coach. If my team loses a round, I know they lost and why they lost. It doesn't matter that they're my team. It matters that they lost the argument chain. Certain argument chains according to certain reasons. I'm practiced, literally practiced as a profession and as a hobby with being unbiased in my reasoning and conclusions about shit that I'm very biased about in terms of my feelings, and I'm usually pretty good at it. I can tell you, I didn't know when I got with Kimberly, first of all, that she was an ISFJ, and the reason I'm certain she is because I didn't know what it would be like to be with somebody who matched up in that fashion. Now, I did stress in the video that I thought INTPs would be better suited for that dual relationship when they're older, over 30 probably. They're a slow developing type, as are ENTPs, and I didn't get in my first mature relationship until I was 45 years old, almost 46. I'm in it now, and even that, probably a lot of people would say, doesn't qualify as a mature, healthy relationship in some capacity, but they'd be wrong. Anyway, so do INs ever match up well with anybody? Well, I know an INFJ who's in a bad marriage. I know an INTP who got out of a bad marriage. I know an INFP who's in an awful marriage. I know uh, I know an INTP who's in a good marriage. I know one. I'm pretty sure. I don't know him
But
that well, but at least he displays as being in a very good marriage.
but what are the is there a certain pattern of reasons why these INs or the N types, NT types or whatever are in happy marriages or relationships?
I think it's as simple as it's a larger bridge to gap for judges. So it's harder for an INTP to give legitimacy to FE concerns than it is for an ENTP to give legitimacy to SI concerns because the action epistemology has less uh, evaluation in it, and so it's less likely are your natures going to mirror your disputes. So Kimberly and I are our disputes mirror our natures, but our natures don't mirror our disputes. Um,
That's a little
and
bit confusing, Eric.
yeah, well, what I'm saying is our disputes stem from the difference in natures, but um, but our natures aren't made up of how we dispute things. Whereas an FETI person is. FE is about how you don't dispute things, how you avoid disputing things, how you manage things via people's motivations rather than by consistency with axiomatic reasons. So, understanding FE in the world is an objective way to avoid dispute and resolve things in win win fashions, which is logical, and to be able to evaluate whether or not um, Joe was mad because of Mary's action or Joe was mad because of Sue's action, being able to evaluate that determinately to say that there is one right answer, we can figure out what it is by the evidence. That sort of experience being an FE Dom is is going to say, therefore we should do this. And TI Dom is going to say, no, therefore we should do this. They're going to run afoul of each other in a much more concrete way than SINE, which goes, you should be thinking about this through a framework of possibilities. No, you should be thinking about it through the framework of previous experience. You can work past it because you want the same things ultimately. You want to be comfortable.
Well, Eric, in an ideal world, isn't that specifically what the dual types are? Because dual types are supposed to be, at least the way I see them, able to help each other understand the importance of their of functions and how they work together. They like the ESFJ and the INTP, for example, can, for instance, shine a light on the importance of understanding people's feelings when it comes to discussing something that's very emotional or something. Make sense? I don't know.
Well, I mean, here's how I perceive the ideal INTP ESFJ relationship. If you have an INTP chick, for example, who's very bright and capable, and an ESFJ dude, such as yourself, then you'd want that relationship to begin as a management relationship. Look, you're a genius. You don't need to be troubled with this SE nonsense that's in your polar that you don't value at all. And you certainly don't need to be bothered with that extroverted feeling stuff that you feel weak at. Let me manage people's perceptions of you. Let me go around and present you to these various things. Let me help you be a more successful version of you. And INTP will be cooperative with that. Unlike ENTP, who is often not very cooperative with your efforts, INTP will be much more cooperative. If you start the relationship like that, then it's much more likely to work out. But understand that's the fourth slot FE going, this is really all about me, and I want you to make this about me. There's still some of that with third slot FE from me. I'm like, hey, Kimberly, remember, everything's all about me all the time. There's a little bit of that quality. I think INTP is going to have a little bit of that quality too. The nice thing about ESFJ is they have more selflessness to give. If they're accomplishing, if their significant other loves the shit out of them because they're they help them so much and they're such an effective manager of the INTP slackiness. In other words, you'd be a motivating factor for them. You get them motivated to do shit and blah 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 blah. If that happens, then I think it's very potentially a very good relationship as long as it's working. They're both judges, so they're looking for results. As long as the things are getting accomplished, I think that's a potentially a very good relationship. INTPs may poo-poo it because they misunderstand the nature of relationships on some level. They're focusing on it too much with their sort of like loose cannon FI when they should be thinking about it in terms of their fourth slot FE and their seventh slot SE and how they need to get shit handled, and their third slot SI, which wants them to
So,
have shit handled in an orderly fashion, presented well for everybody.
okay. So, but my thing is though, like, it's not just limited to this duel, right? That's how duels are supposed to work, right? They're
Well,
supposed to be able to
I
shine out. In
they're
an ideal
supposed
world, in an
to.
ideal world, right?
Yeah, they're well. That's what socionics presents it as, but I disagree with that conclusion. I think actually, um, you have that duels work differently for judges and perceivers. I think they work better for perceivers. I think duals work better for perceivers. So like,
Which are P's, right?
yeah, well, it's introverted J's from MBTI. So Kimberly is ISFJ, but she's actually a perceiver because she starts with SI. INFJs are actually perceivers. INFPs, on the other hand, are judgers. So I think it has to do with the judging, perceiving thing. So INFP is a judger, INTP is a judger, INTJ is a perceiver, and INFJ is a perceiver. I think the perceivers are much more likely to get along with their duals. However, I have my doubts about ESTP INFJ, but maybe that's just my bias against ESTPs. I can't think of
I
anything
have a
positive
lot.
about them.
I'm really interested. I became really interested in the conversation when we started talking about different IN people that you know about and how their relationships aren't necessarily going as steady as they would like to. Uh, is there really any like sort of like pattern to that? Like, is it because their partners are like the wrong types, or is it just
Well, I mean, I know
you
an
know?
INFP in a dual relationship, and it's not, it doesn't meet her needs, or she fails to understand it as such anyway. And so, I mean, she's miserable in that relationship, and it's a dual relationship. So I don't know what that has to say to do with anything, but
So for socionics, is there an exact like you know how for MBTI they're like dual types? Do they have like socionics is the whole numbers things, right? Or is that Enneagram?
that's Enneagram. Look, Socionics
So
has
for
their
Enneagram,
duals, and Moisture Tax has its duals as well, renamed TwFP Tax. INFJ is
Best system.
INFJ is considered the dual under the TwFP tax, but I mean, obviously, Socionics got it right. I don't know what to say about it. Maybe INFJ will be good too. I don't know. I've never been in that relationship. Might be really good. It might be moist. I don't know. The thing is, INFJs in non-love relationships don't like it when you see their naked soul. If I were going to be in a successful relationship with an INFJ, they'd have to get used to that because I see through all their stuff. And
Yeah, that's annoying to them, isn't it?
yeah, but I don't know if it's the case in a love relationship. In a love relationship, they might appreciate it because they might subsume you as part of themselves. I'm not sure if it works that way though with that quadrant. I I I'm not I'm not somebody who likes neediness, but I like it for my significant other because it makes me feel more confident. You know, I feel more certain in the relationship, and I attribute that to my inability to understand relationships via feelings. So it doesn't mean anything to me in terms of certainty of outcome to believe that she loves me. You know, I believe it, but that's not evidence of anything. That's not an indication that anything. It's not anything. It's not useful in an argument.
It's just an ingredient.
It's something that I can't use to win any arguments. That's what it
I don't
boils
think
down
you
to.
can use it on either side.
I know. So what's the point of it? So that's the thing. It may have it has a point, but its point is to experience it, to be like, oh, that feels good, or ouch, that hurts, or whatever. But not to
The
do
problem is
anything.
that the definition is so subjective. The definition is so subjective and unpermanent.
That's what makes it not useful as an argument.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I'm agreeing. I'm double agreeing with you.
I think there's a triple agree because it didn't cancel itself out.
That's right. Okay. So anyway, we triple agree on that. You know it's true. If Taylor and I triple agree, you know it's true.
I like how the two of us combined makes a third agreement.
Right, yeah. It only takes two of us to make a group. Well, and you know, that's just the archpastor, Taylor, and Yaylor, or maybe just Taylor and the Secretary of Ass Kicking. We haven't even brought Yaylor and the Prince of Dark Arguments into the equation yet. I'm sure they agree too, but we won't bother them about such petty matters.
Right.
So anyway, is that the end of this video? I think it is.
I mean, I think we just irrefutably concluded it.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you for
thanks
watching Talking with Famous People. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.